This week on FIFA Football Mundial, we're in Los Angeles as the US season reaches its climax. We meet the new professional club changing the dynamics of the Asian game. And we remember Costa Rica's great lost talent. It was perhaps the most unexpected outcome there's ever been in the Qatari top flight. A newly formed club, Lakhwiya FC, upset the apple cart and were crowned champions of the Qatar Stars League in their inaugural season of operation. More to the point, they beat a host of well-established clubs and claimed the title with 3 weeks to spare.
We started our league campaign extremely well, and pretty soon all the other clubs began to take notice of us, especially as we played attractive football from the outset. We knew we'd have to fully commit ourselves, financially and mentally, in order to compete properly. And the inclusion of top overseas players in our squad was key.
Lakhwiya were formerly known as Al Shorta, the club of Qatar's police force. There aren't that many football teams in a nation the size of Qatar, but Al Shorta had still managed to remain pretty much invisible throughout their history. But in January 2010, they were renamed and relaunched with a huge budget. They recruited Algerian coach Jamel Belmadi that summer, and after signing a host of African internationals, they were set for their first ever success.
I think that winning the title was more difficult for us than most people would think. Expectations were very high, because the club's president is our leader. He's the Prince of Qatar. His ambition was to be competitive even in our very first season. It was very difficult, and I'm sure that the second season will also be just as difficult.
Having been in France for most of his playing career, with the likes of Paris Saint-Germain and Marseille, as well as having spent time in both England and Qatar, Belmadi knew exactly the sort of issues he'd be up against in what was his first coaching challenge.
At the start of this project, using what I'd learned from my former clubs in Europe, I insisted on the fact that we needed to imitate the sort of experiences that I'd had in Europe. And I thought that it could make a difference here. I think it can make a difference in Qatar, because this sort of thing is precisely what's missing, a little bit of professionalism. Using what I knew, we tried to implement real professionalism right throughout the organisation.
Belmadi's plans received the director's seal of approval, and Lakhwiya's approach to football organisation has become the model for all Qatari clubs to emulate. In a region where club directors are liable to interfere with the work of technical staff, leading to the regular hiring and firing of coaches, Belmadi's been given free rein to run the technical affairs, while the directors lend him their moral and financial support.
This is very important. When the technical staff and the management are close to the players in a spirit of professionalism, it's beyond doubt that it represents a force for the good of the club and for the future of Qatari football. In the past, whenever I've played against Lakhwiya, I've always asked myself why Lakhwiya were winning the championship. Now I've become part of this club, I finally understood.
But this success has not just been down to foreign imports. 6 members of the current national team are on Lakhwiya's books. This situation has certainly proved a boon for Qatari football, as the presence of foreign talent, and more pertinently those who are current internationals, has helped local players hone their skills without needing to leave home. Another reason behind the rise of Lakhwiya was the desire of Qatar's football authorities to play a more prominent role in Asia's top club competition, the AFC Champions League. Up till the coming season, the Asian Football Confederation's Pro League Committee rated the Qatar Stars League highly enough to allow 2 automatic berths, with a third possible through a playoff. Only 5 countries, Japan, Korea, China, Saudi Arabia and Iran, were allocated the maximum 4 spots in the first selection cycle. One of the reasons being that no more than 1/3 of teams in each country's top division are allowed entry. With Qatar having had only 10 teams in its top division at the time of the last assessment, it was decided to expand to 12 in time for the next cycle. Hence the impetus behind Lakhwiya's rise from the amateur to the professional ranks. And it's worked. From 2013, Qatar will be one of only 2 countries, along with Japan, given 4 automatic spots.
This is not a weak league, far from it. On the contrary, there are some great players, and many young players, many quality players who could easily play in Europe. The proof is that there are plenty of players coming directly from Europe to play here, and there are now fewer players finishing their careers here, as was the case a few years back.
Former Olympique Marseille striker and current Côte d'Ivoire international Bakary Koné is one of those top international players whom local youngsters at Lakhwiya's Football Academy are hoping to emulate. With Lakhwiya's qualification for next season's Asian Champions League, the club needs to nurture more local talent to keep its dreams of further glory alive.
The club has a lot of ambition, and the Champions League is just one of our priorities. I feel that the team and the players are preparing just as well for the domestic league as they are for the Champions League. We're impatient because I feel that this team can go a long way. Of course, it'll be the first time we're participating, but our goal is to be one of the last 4 teams. And we're born competitors, so why shouldn't we win it?
With Al Sadd the newly crowned Asian champions, there's every incentive for other Qatari clubs to match them. It seems hard work and not just divine intervention is what's needed to secure more stability and success. Lakhwiya will establish a new sports complex with a football-specific stadium and an academy by next year. The club's long-term objective beyond their own success is to contribute to Qatar becoming a force within Asia and beyond.
What we've managed to achieve with our financial support, as well as planning in all areas of our operations, will guarantee that, God willing, our club will be one of the forces on the Asian club scene. With all that in mind, and of course God's will, we want to elevate our club to the very highest level in Asia, and even reach global standards. We want to be part of the world football elite and become a big player on the world stage.